Hi, I'm Just with Canine Perspective, and we're back with another how-to video. This one is going to be another one regarding the place command, the pressure on, pressure off concept with the added positive reinforcement variable of turkey. So, the last video that I made, or the other video regarding pressure on, pressure off concepts, was simply remote pressure on, pressure off, and that all my clients' dogs, with a very small percentage being with food, are trained on just e-collar. Okay, because most people that are looking for help are the average dog owner. They want something simple that's going to be effective, that's going to get them reliable results and also be efficient. They're not trying to be dog trainers. Others like to go a step further and go the extra mile with the food and stuff, which is perfectly fine. It's just I'm approaching it as you're wanting the bare bones that will get you the level that you're wanting. And it can be done sans food, sans any kind of positive reinforcement, whether it's a toy or food, treats, whatever. It can be done strictly through pressure work, which is simply make the dog do it concepts. So, blah. Hi, Just with Canine Perspective, and we're back with another how-to video. This is also going to be going, again, over the pressure on, pressure off concepts. The other video I made was simply remote collar, and this video will be applying positive reinforcement using turkey as the reward. And when I work with my private clients, it's almost always only remote collar because it's easy for people. I'm limiting how much stuff they have to worry about because they're just your average dog owner who aren't looking to be dog trainers. They just want their dog to listen and they want to have the control with as little work as possible. So here for these videos, it's more so for the owners that want to go the extra mile, add this in, it's perfectly fine. Or for those that are wanting to be a dog trainer, understanding these concepts. So I have here turkey with me for Millie, which she doesn't seem to have an issue with. So when I do training myself with food, I prefer to use human stuff. Hot dog, turkey, ham, chicken, rotisserie chicken, steak, beef, if your dog likes carrots and stuff like that, and it's what we're looking for is a quick reward, something that the dog can take and chew real fast. We're not wanting like biscuits and things that they have to chomp down on, because we want the immediate reward to happen. And I'm doing fairly generous chunks here with her. I'm doing bigger ones. I actually do smaller than this. Dog treats, a lot of dogs will turn their nose to it, especially when you're applying pressure, because the payment is not enough to counter the pressure. So more often than not, unless there's some kind of behavioral issues like stress or anxiety or fear with the dog, human grade food they'll almost always take. So what we want to do here is we're doing the same thing that we were doing before, which is the pressure on concept, and to teach Millie that going there is what we're wanting. And to make it a bit more clear for her, I'm going to use a marker word, which is the word yes. And then I'm going to immediately reward her with the food, okay? So I'm on 25 here. And tap, 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 tap. Yes. And then I would reward. There you go. More food. Break. Okay. And again. Tap, tap. Yes. Good girl. So I'm going to add a little bit of a distraction here. So she should not leave the placemat. Tap. Good. So here, I tap her for stepping off. She steps back on. That's exactly what I wanted to see, but I did not reward. I did not reward because that was a correctional tap. That wasn't a do this tap, okay? So what that means is when I give the cue, pressure is going to kick in no matter what. And then when she does it, the faster she does it, the faster this turns off, or the pressure is off, and the faster she gets this reward. So now that I've sent her there through pressure, it is a command. The word does not matter. She does not understand what the word means regardless, okay? She's just learning when I go here, this annoying thing stops. Okay, I'm going to go there. And she did that within 2 taps. So then when I move around, she got distracted because she was excited for the food. She takes a premature step off or prematurely breaks. And I give a tap, she stepped back on. So that's telling me or showing me that she's associating when she feels this, in this context, she needs to step back on. I did not reward it because it was a correction. Okay, we don't reward for corrections. And what can happen if you do so is you'll actually prompt your dog to make more corrections. Because they're thinking, well, every time I step off and you remote me and I step back on, I get another piece of turkey. Okay, what I want the dog to learn is they'll get paid on the performance the first time, but they can't create this game where they can just kind of abuse the system and jump on and off and get rewarded even though they're turning off the pressure and they're responding to the remote. Okay, break. And I've seen it happen. Dogs are very smart. They're not down. So, again, we're going to stop here. Tap, tap. Good. Or yes. Sorry. You want to keep the word consistent. Break. And I'll do another video with clicker, which would be the preferred way, but it just ends up being a lot in your hands, and I try to minimize as much as I can for what my owners need to do. Tap, 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 tap. Yes. So there, I started tapping, no directional pressure. I gave her no leash pressure because I want to see what's her concept so far of the command. Is she getting it? So using just the pressure, no direction from the leash, it took maybe about 4 to 5 taps, but she ultimately got up and started moving on her own. So that's showing me she's starting to connect the dots. Break. She's not 100%. She's still learning. Break. But I can start kind of jumping to the next level. Tap. Good. It's 1 tap. Excellent. That's now the next level. So dogs learn really fast. So when I train dogs, break, I'm progressing them very, very quickly. The reason these go longer with our clients is because they're not dog trainers. You know, so it's done much more slowly just to make it easier for the human to learn the skills. But here, tap, 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 tap. Good. Yes. Very good. So I had to escalate my power there. I went from 25 to 45. Now, the reason why I did that was because she's already shown me that she can go there to the placemat with just pressure. So I'm trying not to digress from that level of learning. So instead of kind of caving in and helping her guide again, or guiding her to it again, I want her to think through it. So I start to increase the pressure. It was 25, 30, 25, 30, 35, 40, and then I hit 45. And then she kind of looked around, and then she went forward. Most people's inclination, again, is to help the dog to reset, take the dog, move the dog, whatever. And when you do that, you're removing the dog from the context, and they don't learn how to think through it, okay? I want, as much as possible, for the dog to figure things out using only remote pressure, because in the grand scheme of things, if you're outside and something happens and your dog is off leash, maybe it's scared from a firework, which is like the most common thing that I get, and is running in fear, you're not gonna have these things at your disposal. The only thing that you should have at your disposal is the remote collar, if your dog has been remote trained, and you now need to work your dog in a stressed situation where they're scared using only this tool, okay? So I'm already kind of conditioning her to troubleshoot and not panic when this kicks in to figure out what the solution is, okay? Break. So when I do this training, like I'm training for realistic situations that can happen, not saying that they will happen. Tap, good girl. Not saying that they will happen, but I like to know that I have all my bases covered in case things go south when it comes to my clients. And that's something that the e-collar, in my opinion, is the only tool that can grant you full control of your dog, even in a stressed out freak moment type situation, because you have a means of communicating with your dog And you can also escalate if needed, if you need to override the fear or whatever, okay? So a little tangent, but break. When adding in positive reinforcement, break. Yeah, good girl. It's really that simple. You know, you're still doing everything the same. The baseline foundation is the same of pressure on, pressure off, but all we're doing is adding a cue of yes, and then feeding at the end to let the dog know. It's like just an added bonus of, okay, when you go there, the pressure turns off, and also you get something from it as well. Tap, tap. Good. Yes. So, when doing positive reinforcement, I actually don't like using words for the marker. I prefer to use a clicker, and I'm going to do a separate video for the clicker, because as humans, you're more inclined to talk to the dog more, which adds more variables in the sense of words the dog needs to learn and kind of pluck to see what's important. And even I, you know, when I was doing the cues, there was a couple times where I said good instead of yes. So even I'm making a mistake. So I want to make it very consistent each time. So if we use the word yes, you want to make sure that you're using yes every single time the dog does something that you like and that you immediately reward with food or toy or whatever it is that you're using as the positive reinforcer. With the clicker, we don't have to worry about the variable of you accidentally giving another word like good dog or good or great or whatever. It's a consistent sound, and we'll make a separate video for that, but the concept remains the same. Pressure on when you need the dog to do something, pressure off once they comply, with the added bonus of here's a piece of food. I'm Jesse with Canine Perspective, and thank you for watching.